This is exactly what the Chicago Bulls needed. We're going to be talking about how the recent play of Matas Buzelis, Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry has really made the Chicago Bulls now want to pivot and start their youth movement sooner rather than later. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And today we are talking about some of these young players on the Chicago Bulls roster, how they have really gone out in the preseason and established themselves and really shown that they should absolutely be playing some major minutes this upcoming season, which we know is going to help with evaluating these players and seeing exactly how to continue to build the Chicago Bulls as they want to get back into being a contender. And let's start with Matas Buzelis. And I think that this title really brings it out. And the fact that Matas Buzelis sparks the Bulls movement. And I want to say that he absolutely sparks the Bulls movement just based off how he has approached things since day one. Just his assertiveness, the way he is being aggressive out there, the way he continues to challenge anybody that's in front of him. I'd have to think that when you are coming into practices, you're coming into games, I think that this is something that is starting to definitely rub off on players like Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry, Sanogo. I think Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. I think that those players have already had it already. But I think that Matas Buzelis is absolutely a player that is going to help us get to a point where we have an identity. And I think that it has been mentioned before that he might be a player that is like a Joakim Noah type of player, that player that you want to have come in that is really going to establish that identity of toughness that you need with this team. And I think that you see that with Matas Buzelis. I mean, if you're just not even looking at the numbers and you saw what he's done over the first three preseason games, I loved it. I love the fact that he came out and he had some major success in game one, and then he did not have a good game in game two. One of the things I talked about going into game three was how is he going to respond? And you see exactly how he responded. He came out, he scored more points at 15 points, and then he also had a +5 in the plus minus box score, which is very good. And I love the fact that he went after Giannis. There was a play where he went down, he dunked the basketball. Giannis was definitely there. He goes to reach for the block shot, didn't get it, and it was an and one. And then also, too, when you look at the three-point shots that Matas Buzelis hit, there was a contest from Bobby Portis. There was a contest from Giannis as well. It's not like they're just letting him sit out there and shoot the ball. And I love the fact that he airballed some shots and he still kept shooting the basketball. That is what you need. It is just that belief, that aggression. And I think that if anybody is going to get to their potential, it is going to be Matas Buzelis because of that. And I think that if you're around him, I think that that is something that these players are definitely growing into as well. I'm seeing that with Julian Phillips. I'm seeing that with Dalen Terry as well. Because even though Julian Phillips didn't score as much as he did in game two, he still came out. He got double figures. He was still shooting the three-point shot, and he was still being aggressive. Dalen Terry, even though he did not necessarily score the basketball well, the assists were there. You still see that he wants to come in and affect the basketball game, and that's what you have to love about this youth movement. And so as we continue to look a little further into this, this is what Matas Buzelis had to say in going against Giannis. And he says, look, I just think of him as another player, and I get it. He's a tough cover. He's really strong. He's tall. He's athletic. He can do everything on the court, but I'm going to compete all the time. And I love the fact that he says that when he steps on the court, it is 0-0. And I love that about Matas Buzelis. And I think that we are starting to see that not only from him, but again, I'm starting to see that from a lot of these young players that we've had question marks about. And so, even Adama Sanogo, with the way that he played, I think that him coming in, going against some taller players and Brook Lopez and the length of Bobby Portis and Giannis, because if you did watch this game, the Bucks did play their starters for the most part, and you still saw that he brought the same level of physicality that we had had seen in the summer league. It's the same level of physicality that we saw when he had that double-double in Washington. And so I like that. I think that these young players are definitely establishing an identity, and I just have to love that, as we continue to look at quotes and things like this. And so, just my final assessment, again, I just think that Matas continues to get better. I want to see what he is now going to do against the Timberwolves coming up here on Wednesday night. We know it is going to be all about Lonzo Ball and what he's going to look like in his return. But Matas has played very well. There is a chance that there's going to be some players out of the starting lineup, and he might have to start. And so now I want to see, how does he respond again after having a good showing? What does he do next? Is he going to average more points in this one? Are we going to see even more defensive awareness? Because every game, I think we've saw something, and I love the fact that he's come back from adverse situations and been good. Dalen Terry, another player that I'm looking to see if he's going to come back from now an adverse situation. Didn't score as much, but I talked about his playmaking ability, and really that's what Dalen Terry is going to be for the Chicago Bulls. He's going to be a player that comes in, gives this team some energy. He's going to play some terrific defense. I think he can score, but can he still be an impact on the stat sheet and help this team win? I want to see that here as we get ready to move into this next game. And Julian Phillips, if you're paying attention to the game, he did go down with a rib contusion, but I liked what I saw from him again, going out, getting double figures, not afraid to shoot the basketball. You can definitely tell that the work has been put in with Peter Patton, who I believe is in his second season. Both of these players are looking good. I cannot wait till he gets a year here with Matas Buzelis, because, his shot doesn't look broke. It's just, it doesn't go in. I think it comes down to confidence. I think it comes down to reps. And I think we are going to see that. And lastly, these players are playing so well. It really literally is forcing Billy Donovan to rethink what he is going to do. I got a chance to look at the CHGO podcast. Make sure you check it out. They're talking about going in depth with Josh Giddey and how he is looking to turn it around with the Chicago Bulls. But one of the things that they talk about is what Billy Donovan had to say after the game. And he was talking about that he is going to have to try to maybe find ways for Julian Phillips, Matas Buzelis to be out there on the court with Patrick Williams, or try to find what the combination is going to be, because it simply looks like these are players that are not just going to sit there on the bench. They're not just going to be in the G League. These are players that have got to get out there. And I must say, I agree with it, because if you're not going to be going out and you're trying to win an NBA championship, we may not even qualify for the playoffs at this point in time. You have got to find out what you have with these young players. I love that they put in the work thus far, and I love that what we're seeing with Matas Buzelis, and he's not even out of year one yet. And this is good for the Bulls. So this is exactly what we needed. We needed these young players to come in and really put pressure on Billy Donovan to play them immediately out there, put them into situational basketball, because the only way they are going to get good is they have to get out into situations like they had last night, going against a team that is expected to do some things in the Eastern Conference, and maybe perhaps they're looking for a title with what Giannis and Dame put together here. So I like the fact that the young players responded well. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this. Do you think that Billy Donovan does, yes, in fact, have to find a way to get these players on the court in the starting lineup? Or are you thinking, look, the players are just going to have to, go down to the G League or, wait their time? Let me know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But before we jump out of here, I just want to thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and sharing. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we still try to get to that goal of 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season comes, which is right around the corner. But either way, look, I know we're talking about preseason basketball. I know we're getting hyped here, and it hasn't even started the season. I'm still saying go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.